Hello, good evening, good afternoon I should say. Welcome to Shrewsbury Speaker Corner. This is our second one and it is grown already. Now we have a very brave speaker here. She's called Sarah. It's her first time and she is now going to speak on camera, and she's very brave because she's from the local Green Party. So welcome, Sarah.
Thank you for the welcome. I just came to speak about being a woman as in an adult human female and my time of growing awareness of it and what's happened as a result of my growing awareness of women having their definition taken away from them. Couldn't believe it, but and I particularly couldn't believe what was happening in the Green Party of England and Wales. And the more I looked, the more concerned I became, as I'd recommended this party to my children, and I was becoming increasingly aware it was a little bit unhealthy. So I joined and I became more active at a local level, because we're actually here in the West Midlands, which, as I learnt more about what had happened in the past, I realised how quite a lot of strangeness had occurred in the West Midlands. So I was curious, but no one wanted to talk about it. So I became more involved at a more national level with adult human females around the UK, which was a bit like a lifesaver. And I'm still really worried. I'm worried about the whole political scene for all of us, and particularly for a party that's kind of lost its way. A lot of people, if asked what is a woman, are unable to answer it. And in answering it, there are usually cries of transphobia, which is such a meaningless chant, but yet it's treated with respect by law officers in a strange, weird way. This country is very strange. Very strange. Anyway, thank you for the time for letting me speak.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah, and we have a new speaker now from Ludlow.
Speak up, nice and loud.
Hello, we're from the Women's Rights Network, and we've got quite an active branch here in Shrewsbury and across Shropshire, and we're just ordinary women who decided enough is enough. We've been kind, we've been asked to be kind, and we've got to the point where we say, men in our changing rooms and in our toilets, no thank you. So I really want to speak today about Shropshire Council and what they are teaching our children. If anyone has a child in Shrewsbury, Shropshire, at a school and hasn't looked at the teaching materials, you have to look at them. Shropshire Council are embedding gender ideology. They are saying everybody has a gender identity, which we don't. We are either men or we are women. And they are showing your children a delightful little heartwarming video of a young child, a girl whose parents knew that she was actually a boy. And the interesting thing about how did they realise this girl was really a boy? And the reason they based putting this child on puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones was because this little girl liked Spider-Man and Bob the Builder. This is what it says in this video that Shropshire Council are showing to your children. So if you've got a child at school in Shropshire, go and see what they're teaching her. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done.
Would you like to speak? Okay.
You can speak off camera if you
You
want.
can speak off camera if you'd like to.
If you want to say something, you can stand here.
You know what Kelly Jo says? If not now, when? Becca, you going next? Becca.
Go on. If not you, then who?
Yeah.
If not now, then when?
Yeah.
I didn't prepare anything. I've been thinking about what to say. Maybe something about, I remember being quite frightened, worried about backlash for wearing this t-shirt, for carrying this bag, and I certainly would not have been sporting top turfs like that, because there's no running away from it. But I just think I had maybe a realisation of it's no good just talking about it within our bubble, because we all know what's going on, and we can discuss it and get outraged, rightly so, but I thought unless we're putting the word out there, how are we going to get more? And we are many. So I just basically I try and bring it into many conversations with friends, acquaintances, family, and even the workplace, which is pretty woke, but I've found that on the ground where I work, most people know what common sense is, but I hear things like, oh, but we've got to be so careful about pronouns, and I think, I don't think it anymore, I say it. No, we don't. Well, I'm not going to be rude to anybody's face, but as a principle, I am not going to pretend that men can be women and women can be men. Just not doing it. And we have to keep that language very separate. So men are men, women are women, which is why I don't call trans men or trans women. There are lots of other things like trans-identifying that. Well, is that a woman identifying as a man or a man identifying as a woman? I don't know, could be confusing. So just call them men and women. Simple. Keep it simple. I haven't had anything awful. I have people debate. They end up that they have no debate in the end, because how can you disagree with the truth? So as long as you can explain yourself in absolute truth and fact, thank you for catching the umbrella, then we've got nothing to worry about. And when they come back at you with an argument, we've all got it, we know it. It's what we know, it's what we've known since we had the ability to think. We can tell who is a man and a woman from babyhood. Animals can tell, for goodness sakes. It just seems to be this indoctrinated cohort worldwide that doesn't seem to know anymore. But I could go on to maybe talking about surrogacy, because they know who a woman is when they want a baby, don't they? But I'm not going to go into all that lot right now. I think I should let somebody else speak until I can find something else I might want to say. Thank you.
Anybody else would like to? Sue, would you like to? Not yet? No? No?
Come on,
Right,
man.
I have a speech, so I've written it down for once, so I better get it. Oh.
I hope I don't burn your flag.
Thank you. Right, I was up in the night worrying about this actually, because last time I didn't prepare, so this time 3 in the morning I wrote reams of it, so I'm not going to read it all. It's a bit of an emotional day for me today, because my mom is here off camera and my oldest daughter is here, so I'm really proud that they've actually come to see why I'm so passionate, because I think sometimes I wish on about things and people think, that's not really happening, why do you care, why are you so bothered, why can't you just let people go? And you can't. And one thing I would say, it's the women who I'm most angry with, the women who say, be kind, stop being a turf, stop being a bigot, let the men come into your spaces, let the men come into my daughter's spaces, let the men come into my mum's spaces. No, my mum is lovely, she's healthy, I'm going off script now, I think, but if she needs to go into hospital, I want her to be able to have the privacy and dignity of a female-only ward. You may be aware that there have been rapes on a female ward. Baroness Nicholson has done some work into that. I believe it's 50 rapes, but of course they say that doesn't happen because there's no men on the ward. That's not true. So anyway, I'll get back to another thing. Right, reason doesn't work with these people because facts are ignored and sensible arguments are dismissed or unheard. The response is almost always a loathing, a spitting hatred, a stream of insults, sometimes abuse. I have to say, usually with the women, that's where it stops. It's the men who will threaten you, threaten to dox you. Dox you is when they give your address or your public information to try and get you to sack or push you into harm. This is the most evil of cults I've ever known or seen, but there's still a difference between the sexes. The women will shout loudly at other women, but it's the men who will physically harm us. I mean, I've been to Bristol, and it was the men who were threatening us. We're going to Brighton, Becca and myself, and the chances are there will be trouble there, but we're unafraid. So what's the difference? What's the benefit for each sex? For the men, it's absolutely obvious. What man wouldn't want to go into a teenage changing room and watch all the girls undress? No, it's just, you know that men are going to do this. But women, this is what I don't understand. Why do you do it? I'm going to miss it because it's everywhere. Lesbian dating sites are probably now 80% male. Women-only dormitories, they don't exist. Youth hostel doesn't exist. Feminist organisations, women's officers, and of course, latest infiltration, male, period, dignity officer. And what's that about? This allows any single male to access females, children into areas that they could only previously dream of. Probably while, sorry about this mum, he watched porn and masturbated, and forgive the basics, but this is 99% a sexual fetish. A man that's so uncomfortable in his body will do anything to change into approximation to female he's not born at. It's a very rare disorder, gender dysphoria. And this was the reason the GRA was invented, was for this very small group of men. And they reckoned it was about 5,000 in the whole UK. But because of Stonewall making it so large, it just includes anybody across Dresser. So anyway, so what I was saying sorry, I'm rambling because my mum's here. I'd said to this lady who was supporting other women, and I gave her a thing, what will it take for you as a woman to stand up for other women? And when will you, as a woman, say it's enough? And this is my list. Is it when a male rapist is put in a woman's cell? Is it the slicing off of a 12-year-old girl's breasts? Is it the rape of a female patient in a female hospital ward? Is it the girl guides allowing a boy to sleep in a girl's tent? Is it the removal of women's rights to single-sex spaces? Will you say no when it's the feeding of experimental drugs to young children? Drugs we know limit brain development, cause cancer, early menopause, and early dementia, bone crumbling, vaginal atrophy, and that's just for the girls. You have to have a hysterectomy as a young girl if you start taking testosterone because you will get cancer. So we're in effect sterilising autistic children or gay children. Is your limit knowing that disabled, non-verbal girls cannot have care from only female carers, that males can now provide intimate care to young disabled girls, including changing their tampons? When are you going to say no? Is it the older, confused female patients not able to ask for a female carer to bathe and dress them? Is it knowing a male police officer can strip search a female if he says he feels like a woman? Where do you say no? Is it a woman discriminated at work but unable to legally prove it, as the CEO is a man who cross-dresses on a Tuesday so the firm can legally say we pay equally? Is it then? Is it watching women authors, comedians, singers, artists bullied out of work for stating their sincere beliefs that sex cannot change? Is it no longer being able to say no to the 6'3" male who wants to babysit your preschooler? Is it saying to an 80-year-old woman, you're banned from swimming in this pool because you said that man helping girls strip in the female changing rooms should not be there? Is it seeing the mother of a 9-year-old girl vilified for objecting to the sex offender who joins her daughter in the jacuzzi in the female-only section of the spa because he feels like a woman and likes touching her child with his erection showing? Is it seeing the girl who is uncomfortable with the teenage boy laughing at her, called a bigot, and being ostracised by her peers at school? Will you say no more when you hear of the 2 girls raped at school by a boy wearing a skirt so he's allowed to access the girls' toilets at schools? Or is it the young boy taken to Thailand to have his penis removed at 16 because daddy didn't want a gay son? Is it the sexually abused girl who can't see a way out of her pain unless it's by denying her sex, taking drugs to set off male pattern baldness, a deep voice and body hair, all irreversible should she change her mind in her 20s? Is it medicalising an autistic child who will never be able to experience orgasm or sexual pleasure as an adult? Now, all these scenarios I've just said are real. They've already happened. So at what point are you, other women, going to stand with us and say no more? Okay, thank you.
Brilliant, Andy. Absolutely fantastic. I think you've pretty much said it all. I don't know if anybody else would like to speak.
If not now, when?
If not you, then who? If not, you don't have to be.
Maybe off
Okay, off camera's fine. Off camera is. That's fine.
off camera because
So
she's going to uni.
I've moved. Yeah. Just you can stand there. That's fine. I've got you off camera.
Okay.
Speak up.
Stand closer. Okay. Mum, I did write something down. Just it's very short, but okay. To ignore physical biological science is to deny mankind's knowledge and truth. We should not assume that forced silence equates to content with how things are. I believe in equality, and I believe in both men and women, but women will always come first until they are allowed to walk freely and comfortably in their own skin, not as birth givers or uterus owners, but as women. And I'm not going to allow a man in a wig to prevent that.
Well done! Oh, that's super! Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. See, there are young women out there that know. Of course they are. They do. They're just not going to be dragged into the indoctrination. And unfortunately, a lot of them feel they have to be quiet, keep quiet, or off the camera because of what they're going to experience if their peers know, and they're because they're too frightened to step outside of their I don't know what the word is, indoctrinated bubbles, for fear of bullying or being cancelled or whatever it is. So no, brilliant, well done, thank you very much. So I had another woman who's just turned up at the right time, absolutely brilliant. Welcome, off you go.
Hi-ho, it's Jo. I came for the first time last month and I'm back.
Yay!
And I haven't prepared anything. I wanted to prepare something about speaking about the truth, but it got very kind of philosophical and a bit over the top. So I'll work on that till it's something a bit more user-friendly. Anyway, hi, hello.
Glad you're here, Jo. Good to meet you. Yeah, saying about talking the truth. I don't know if I've said it, but this thing about being fearful. Did I talk about being fearful? Well, a little bit. And I think speaking in Manchester, as nerve-wracking as that was a real turning point for me for speaking out. And then I went with Wendy and my daughter down to London, and we proper turfed up in our 3 t-shirts abreast, walking down Park Lane and across Hyde Park and what have you, and people looked, people maybe commented, I don't know, we didn't hear anything. We had some thumbs up and some, we totally agree with you, people in a cafe who were like, yeah, well done. On the train, I don't think we stopped talking about it. Even on the night bus, we were talking about it, you know, really getting out there. And so I found, well, and that's why I did kind of take it back into work a little bit, because I thought, people do need to know. And you know, why keep quiet? And I've already said that bit, I've just remembered, so I'm not going to babble anymore. We have got one more woman here, very brave woman who does have something to lose, something very, very precious. So she also is going to stay off camera, but come close this way and speak up because you've got a very quiet voice, my love. Off you go.
We just wanted to say what happened to common sense.
Indeed, what happened to common sense? Really important point to be made. Thank you.
Welcome to Alison.
Hello everyone. So earlier on this morning there was a chap on Twitter, I think it was a bloke with a beard, pontificating about the Let's Let Women Swim session yesterday, and he was actually talking about well, Muslim women should go and find their own pond effectively. And I went back and said, oh, you know, because he was quoting the law, it's the law, you can't discriminate against trans people. And I went back and said, well, you know, a Muslim woman is doubly protected. She's protected by our sex and because of her religion on the Equality Act, so that's the law. And immediately there was 3 or 4 piled on to tell me that, you know, women's rights didn't matter and effectively that trans rights outweighed everyone else's rights. And that started, I mean, sort of on my journey, I've started to think that actually I've started to get fed up with writing letters and sending emails and stuff like that. I think it's time for a bit more direct action, personally. Completely non-violent direct action, but a bit more direct action. That's direct action, isn't it? Who wants to? The phone doesn't like it. Is that still? So, before that interruption, I think it's time for a bit more direct action. I've written letters to MPs, get no response. I've written letters to councillors, to Halifax Bank, to Marks and Spencers, and we just don't get any response. So I think we should, and WRN should start to be more proactive around direct action, and we should target the GRA and get it. You know, all our problems started with the GRA, and we should start a campaign to get it repealed. Yay. That's my
We have another speaker just about to. Are you ready? Come on, my lovely. Come on. She's going to be perfect. She doesn't think she is. Come on, my girl.
Hiya there. This is my first time at meeting everybody in Shrewsbury, and it's absolutely lovely. And it's just really nice to meet people in person rather than via Zoom, for example. But the thing that's probably upset me most today, yesterday, was watching the women from Get the L Out yesterday being thrown out of an not being allowed to participate in an LGBT, etc., etc., etc. March, a pride march. Okay, so it literally saying that lesbians couldn't have their say. Okay, and you actually had some what looked like fairly evil police officer who didn't appear to know anything about the right really to speak at any kind of political rally, and so let's hope lots of people feel the same way as I do and reply on their behalf or support them. So that's probably my latest thing. And once I've got to know everybody here, I'll probably have a lot more to say. Thank you.
Hi, yeah, the professionals that we are.
Yes, we are at the pub.
I've been for ice cream.
Thank you for watching, and there's more of us now, a lot more.
There are.
There's some that won't go on camera.
Yeah,
and some
we've
that are a bit
had.
upset.
So
Yes.
we've got, that's fine,
Right, just keep those
that's
ladies
fine.
off. Yeah.
Not going to get everybody in.
Yeah.
But,
Thank you for watching. There's more women speaking up.
oh,
Yes. Duck down.
duck down.
Yes.
Small.
Put
Um,
that up.
So last Sunday of the month,
Next
here,
will be September.
it'll be September. So down in the quarry in Shrewsbury by Port Hill Bridge. Look out for the flags
Yay,
and
we'll be
t-shirts, and we'll see you then.
Thank you.
Bye.